But what I want to talk about is pornography. Pornography is not the problem. Pain is the problem. Well, what we do, especially in our society, we're able to medicate our pains without dealing with them in different manners. And it can be pornography, it can be shopping, it can be video gaming, whatever you can use to distract you, drugs, alcohol, of course, that's the ones that we normally go to in our society. Whatever you can use to numb the problem, you think will get you by. Pornography is one of those issues. And the surprising thing about that is some of the statistics that I was reading is the main financier behind video games today is the porn industry. If you look at some of the labels of the video games that are out now, they are right at pornography. It might be a video game, and even them, they look real now. If you've seen anybody play the war games and stuff like that, they look real. And so what it is a softening of society. Would you say our society is soft in this area? Yeah. And we're being taught by it. When you watch commercials, you're going to see something of a pornographic nature in insurance commercials. You know, we were having a meeting this week, and we just put the TV was on when they come in. We're watching the Weather Channel or whatever it was, so I just muted the television. And then I caught something out of the corner of my eye and looked up at it, and it was a girl in a bikini, you know, on the television. So I just reached up and changed the channel on it, and I remarked, they're probably selling insurance. You know, what else would they be selling on the Weather Channel? I couldn't imagine, right? So what we're going to talk about today is the lie told to men. We've been in a series of a lie told to women, to men, to youth, to kids, and to all of us. So this will be the last one in the installment. And it is in the area of pornography that we're going to deal with. This is not the answer. Just wanted to throw a graphic. This is what we do in society. What we do with sin is generally lift up a carpet and sweep the sin underneath of it and lay the carpet back over. The sin's not dealt with. It's just covered. And so what we do is we stick our head in the sand. This is our United States government, by the way, and that's all political that I'm going to get. Just all that mess going on is a gigantic distraction in our country. Okay, so here we go. Here's the first lie. Normal women are not emotional and complicated. They are very sexual, just like men. Now this is for men, okay? This is the lie that's told to men. So what the porn industry portrays is a woman with a man's psyche, that all they want is sex. Pornography for women are these romance novels, and they portray a man with a woman's psyche. It's a man in the romance novel that all he does is sit in the house all day and talk about their feelings. And the woman, the wife, or whoever, you never see a guy standing in the bookstore in the romance section. Not a real guy, anyway. Okay. But what this book portrays is something that a real man is really not. Because when your husband comes home, then you can obviously see the difference. Well, Marcus talked to Stephanie all day, and you just come in and grope me. But that's the way men are. So porn shows non-emotional women that just want sex. They're not complicated like my wife. My wife wants to pray about everything before we have sex. Pray for mom's finger and stuff like that, you know. That's not normal, that men think. But it is normal for a lady because everything is connected to them. Number three, men are compartmental. They can have the worst day of their life. Armageddon's going to happen tomorrow. And they say, well, we might as well have sex. Because nothing's linked. It's just the way we think. Women are inclusive. All of life is on the table and affect every emotion. We've said it before that women are unlocked sexually through emotion. If you put it on a list, there was a survey done, a list of the prioritizes for men and for women of where sex would rank in the relationship. It's about number 2 or number 3 on the man's list. On the woman's list, it's like 13 or 14, right after gardening. You know, it'll make the list, but barely. So, but we as a guy, our kids right now are going to have in the hundreds of hits of pornographic thoughts before they're 18. The largest market for pornography is the age 12 to 17 years old. So what they develop is an idea or a thought of what it should be like. And that is not, they're believing the lie in that. So that's the lie that they're going to believe, is that women are like men and they think like men. Men are so visually oriented. That's why it's generally, when I say about pornography, talk about it, it's generally a man's bane because we're so visually stimulated. See, we think that all I have to do is take my shirt off and my wife will be ready to go. And that's not true. You have to sit down on the couch and talk. If a man wants good sex, they have to talk 90% more than they think they're going to need to. Seriously. If you want good sex, do the dishes. Amen. Right? And then have her sit on the couch and you talk to her while you do the dishes. You can take your shirt off if you want to. If you think that's going to help the situation. Lie number 2, sexual sin will spice up our marriage. If you can introduce this into the marriage, it's going to make things better. You're going to get honey, just watch this a while. You'll get the idea. And so there's experimentation with that in that arena. And what that does is sin kills everything it touches. It's not going to spice up anything. The thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Sin decreases the intimacy of the sex because it interjects another person into the bedroom. There can't be intimacy for a woman in that atmosphere. There is no way. Sin level has to be constantly increased in order to sustain the spice. I have counseled just a couple. This is not really my bailiwick on coming in contact with this. But a guy that I had known for, or counseled for 3 years, I was his accountability partner and we talked often. There's a difference between struggling with something and addicted to something, you know that? This was not a struggling thing that this guy had. He was addicted to it. And it was insatiable. It was way more than I was able to help this gentleman. Because my way of counseling somebody in this area would be just stop doing it. Just stop that. But that didn't help the situation. And then another scenario that through Jimmy Evans, I had watched one of his teaching. He said that he knew a guy that he had asked, how much has this cost you? And he said $70,000 in credit card bills in 2 marriages. So it's a problem that some of us don't understand. Now I have viewed pornography. I wasn't born saved. And so I understand the lure of that and the whole thought process of that. And it is something, I don't recommend you going out and viewing it so you can talk to somebody about it, but it is it's an area of pain that's being medicated, is all that is. Deep in the psyche of that person, there's something missing. And there's way smarter people than I am that I've seen a series of questions that a person can answer and you can go through with to determine what those solutions are. I'm gonna lead us out here in a minute, but I'm just saying that I don't have all the answers on how to fix a human being in this. Let's read Proverbs 5 here real quick. It's something interesting in this that I wanted to bring out. Because we think, in line number 2, we think it's going to spice things up. But the Bible is very clear on what it does and what the end is. It says, my son, pay attention to my wisdom, turn your ear to my words of insight, that you may maintain discretion, and your lips may preserve knowledge. For the lips of the adulterous woman drip honey, and her speech is smoother than oil. But in the end, she is bitter as gall, sharp as a double-edged sword. Her feet go down to death, her steps lead straight to the grave. She gives no thought of the way of life. Her paths wander aimlessly, but does not know it. I found this so true with the guys that I have known, that they have no direction in their life when they're entangled with this. It is an aimless search for pleasure. Now, number 7, now then, my sons, listen to me. Do not turn aside from what I say. Keep to a path far from her. You ever notice how people will there's a sin line, there is a line that's going to take you to a place you don't want to go, and we walk so close to that line instead of just staying way away from it. If you know you have a bent for something, just run from that. Just stay away from that as far as you can get. Get somebody in your life that you can talk to. James says that when you confess your faults to one another, it will heal you. And there needs to be accountability in this area. Do not go near the door of her house, lest you lose your honor to others, your your dignity to one who is cruel. 10, lest strangers feast on your wealth and your toil enrich the house of another. Here, there is a financial penalty for this. At 11, at the end of your life, you will groan when your flesh and body are spent. Overall, or without fail, when you find someone, it may be you. I don't know, and I'm willing to help. But without fail, there is huge guilt in this, humongous guilt in this, 11 says. 12, you will say, how I hated discipline and how my heart spurned correction. I would not obey my teachers or turn my ear to my instructors, and I was soon in serious trouble in the assembly of God's people. Drink water from your own cistern, running water from your own well. Should your springs overflow in the streets, your streams of water in the public squares? Let them be yours alone, never be shared with strangers. May your fountain be blessed, and may you rejoice in the wife of your youth, a loving doe, a graceful deer. May her breast satisfy you always. May you ever be intoxicated with her love. Why, my son, be intoxicated with another man's wife? Why embrace the bosom of a wayward woman? For your ways are in full view of the Lord, and he examines all your paths. Love this, the evil deeds of the wicked ensnare them. The cords of their sin hold them fast. For lack of discipline, they will die, led astray by their own great folly. So, God doesn't have to punish anyone in this, and he's not seeking to. He's looking to track you down and tackle you and love you. But what we're doing, the Bible says, is piercing ourselves. Right? We're doing it to ourselves when we do this. Lie number 3, sexual sin is not wrong. I'm just really hitting the highlights on this because I want to get to the end of this where there's help. Do you know the pornography is a problem? Well, we could just go to the end then, right? Sexual sin is not wrong if I'm not hurting anyone. I've heard this before, to justify viewing, to justify why they do it. It's not hurting anybody else. It's just me. I'm just doing this myself. Porn objectifies women. It shows women in a light that will cause men great disrespect for a female. So what you'll start doing then is you'll start to see ladies as a substandard species of something other than what God created them to be. We had a guy come in and fix a piece of equipment this week at my workplace, and there was a girl there at the time, and I had them. I said, if he shows up to fix this, ask them what the fix was, what was the problem. And so they did. They asked him, and he said, was David here? Wait, what do you think? She's stupid? Just tell her, But that's what happens when you start to have this attitude of objectifying women, that they're not smart enough to understand what I'm going to say. That, okay, so mom really was the problem and dad was right in everything that he said that she was. You'll start to look at people with a jaded eye, and it withdraws you from God. It's funny that people trapped in something can't even get it in their spirit to even approach God, because they are already thinking that they're judged. They've judged themselves. Their conscience is just on fire, and they think that God's not going to receive them to even get close to them. So there is a condemnation cycle that keeps them from doing anything about it. Our job is to help them out of that cycle, to give them another thought, if you will. I like what Graham Cook says, that if you think something is wrong in your life, then just have another thought. They're free. That's what the whole Bible is for, is to give us another thought on what we're doing and should be doing and should not be doing. So who does pornography hurt? Sure, evidently. You and all your relationships. It's not just one area. It's everybody that you look at. If you put a man in a locked room and view pornography for an hour, and you put another man in a locked room and read the Bible or view some sort of teaching, video, DVD, audio, whatever it is, you're going to have two different attitudes coming out of that room. One is going to come out to get, the other one's going to come out to give. So that's what makes it so damaging in our relationships. In relationships, you don't want to go into them, or you don't want to maintain your relationships by what you can get out of it. So your vision for yourself is what we behold is what we get. So if in viewing pornography and participating with that, that's what we're going to feed ourselves with. The Bible says to keep your eyes on the Lord. What we think about is what we talk about. It will be what you seek. Joshua was told, because that thing can never be filled, Joshua was told to meditate on the word. These are the ways out, by the way. We believe, what we believe about us is what we become. As a man thinks in his heart, so he shall be. So the man that comes out of the room reading the Bible or listening to a DVD, he's going to see himself completely different than the man viewing pornography. Now, I said that all this is pain thinking. It's centered around some sort of pain in an individual's life. And pain thinking is self-centered. How does it make me look? What will everyone think? And what do I have to gain and loss? And the common denominator in all these sentences is I. It all focuses on me and of how it's going to make me look or how it's going to make me feel. How do I get out? Provision is already provided because he said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. And I'm going to give you my spirit to teach you everything that I said. Isn't that awesome? That's an awesome gift. To remind us of what we need to do, never condemn. God never comes out with a finger pointed up in the air saying, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. He comes to say, I can help, I can help, I can help. So would it be safe to say that for whatever issue you have, for whatever need you have, there's provision for it already? It's just we don't see it, all right? He said, I'll always give you a way out. I'll never give you, a man will not be tempted more than he can stand, and I'll always give you a way out. Faith is a verb, as Indy just showed us. It's action. Everything you put your hands to will prosper. It says go and make disciples. Giving, serving, honor, these are all active things that we do in the Christian faith. It's funny that whatever it is in your life that you're supposed to be doing or need to do or feel a prompting to do, provision hardly ever will happen before you do it. You will start moving toward what it is that you're supposed to be doing. Provision will start to come because you're starting to exercise faith. In other words, it's like this. You're going to buy a car. You need a car. But I'm not going to give you money toward the car until you buy the car. Right? That's the premise of this whole thing. It doesn't seem right in our way of thinking. And we bring so much of our way of thinking into the kingdom that we get stuck in this thought process. I in my life have had so many situations and scenarios come up where I just needed. I had a need. I had created a need, and God has met that need every time. He's met that need. Here is, when you have a map, it's just awesome because I love maps. So this is Israel back in the, you can just acquaint yourself with it. You see Jerusalem, you see Samaria. The area from Samaria pointing over the Jordan River is the area of Tishba, and that's where Elijah was from. He was called a Tishbite. And you see the Kerith Ravine right above there. So the Kerith Ravine was in Elijah's home area, if you will, hometown. Well, this, in 1 Kings, there's a story about him, and we'll read it. Now Elijah the Tishbite from Tishba in Gilead said to Ahab, as the Lord, the God of Israel lives, whom I serve, there will be neither dew nor rain in the next few years except at my word. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah, leave here, turn eastward, and hide in the Kerith Ravine, east of the Jordan. You will drink from the brook that I have directed the ravens to supply you with food there. So he did what the Lord had told him. He went to the Kerith Ravine, east of the Jordan, and stayed there. The ravens brought him bread and meat in the morning and bread and meat in the evening, and he drank from the brook. Amen. So here's a simple word that the Lord gave this person. Now, he had a choice, and we all do. We have choices, to go there or to wait. I think there's far too many of us that wait because of, it can be lack of faith. It can be, did you hear the Lord, or was it bad pizza that you're getting this inclination from, you know? But the words that jump off from me in verse 2 at the end, it says, I will supply you with food where? There. And so now Elijah knew where this ravine was. The ravine was pretty big, however, if you look on the maps. There's a brook there, and it runs the full length of the ravine. So where would Elijah go? Where he saw the ravens circling. It doesn't get any simpler than this. It really doesn't. We read this to say, oh, that's, you know, if I had that word, I would go too. Really? There's a lot of words in here. All these people sitting in front of me, there's a lot of words here. Some we're acting on, and some we're holding back from. So the way out, always, in any scenario, in any situation, whatever it is in your life, is to go there. Ask the Lord. Say, Lord, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? Because provision will always be there. He'll always give you a way out in acting on the faith. Here are some there areas at TLC. The first one, Freedom Begins, is a video series that I have. We refer to it as Freedom Now because that's one of the teachings in the video series. It's 4 or 5 CDs in here. There is a couple books. This series will take you from point A to point B in teaching about pornography and learning about pornography in our society today. And then how awesome would it be to go into the youth group and teach them. So this should happen at home, but it doesn't. And it happens at school at the age of, or at 3rd and 4th grade now. So we need to change what's in our kids' noggin to help them. And so this is a there, and this resource is available to whomsoever shall to start doing this. Did you do me? Launch me, baby.
Why don't I have my own backpack line? I feel like I'm kind of missing out on my corner of the market, to be honest with you. And in that way, Hannah Montana frustrates me.
I don't like anything that goes very fast. Roller coasters, I don't do those. So basically, anything that moves.
I can talk like a baby, but I'm not gonna do it.
I grew up in Woodville, Alabama, and it's exactly what it sounds like.
Actually, that's one thing I wish I could do. I wish I could do the splits. That's kind of my lifelong goal that I'll never accomplish.
12 to 17-year-old children are the leading consumers of pornography. And man,
Kids are gonna learn about it, one way or the other, at school, at church.
We don't know what to say, you know? I think that we, as believers, need to be equipped to give an account, to give a response.
I mean, I'm comfortable with my parents, but growing up, it was always really awkward talking about that stuff.
We just want to sweep it under the rug, and it's become like the thing you don't talk about, the hidden secret, the hidden sin that you're not supposed to discuss with anybody.
I'm still finding this stuff out for myself, but I mean, even though you're gonna feel awkward, you need to talk about it.
What affected me more was, I guess, the whole self-image thing and kind of the message that magazines would send to girls.
It is a very beautiful thing that the world is ruining.
I didn't learn about sex from my parents, that's for sure. I was first exposed to the idea of it in 4th grade, which is tragic.
My parents never really gave me the talk.
Growing up in high school, you know, I learned so much. You know, when everybody says sex, everybody starts laughing. It's like it's a cuss word.
It's so easy to stumble. I mean, we start out stumbling.
We're a bunch of screw-ups and half-hearted, apathetic, you know, addicted people that God is making new daily.
I mean, I remember that just in a time when I was really struggling with image, I just cried out to God, God, I don't want to have these feelings, I don't want to have these thoughts.
Even though, because a lot of people would look up to artists and musicians, we still struggle with things and walk through things with each other.
I don't think we have the right to blame culture for not being responsible of our own actions.
The church has got to quit being ignorant to the fact that their own body of believers is hurting and needs help.
It's an addiction that can still destroy people.
It's not just going to go away if we ignore it.
Nobody knew anything. I thought that I was the only person in the world who was even involved in this sort of stuff. I thought I get saved, I'm free from porn addiction. It didn't get easier, it got harder because now I was fighting.
Teenagers who are easily influenced grab onto the wrong thing and not have a real sense of what's right and what's wrong.
No matter how difficult it may seem, get over the awkwardness.
Sit down and be honest with your children.
If I'm not willing to be one of them to say, let's start having a conversation about this, who is?
Who else is going to if I don't?
Talk to somebody.
Parents, you want to tell your kids about sex what you want them to learn about it. You don't want the world telling them what they know about it.
Begin the conversation now, before it's too late.
So I feel like I'm selling something. I have my product up here. It really is good. If you're just interested in it, would like to take it home and watch it, I'd love for you to. But what they're saying is true. What you're healed from, there's no shame in. And what there's no shame in, you can talk about freely. And what you freely talk about will draw someone else out of their non-freedom because they want what you have. The world wants your freedom. The world wants what you have. Whatever area that is for you, whatever area, I want to help. Whoever you can tell me, I won't laugh. No, I'll keep secrets. I will help you out. But it's got to start somewhere, right? That's right. Okay. Bow your heads with me. You're getting out early. Oh, yeah. Father, thank you for your word. It is the only thing that heals us. Help us be like Elijah, Lord, and get that word and move forward, press forward. Now, Elijah trying to have a pity party in a cave, and God wouldn't let him have that either. So, Father, save us from ourselves sometimes, where the young lad said that we're just messed up people that you are trying to clean up so that we can redeem the rest of the world behind us. So, Father, help us be that person. Help us be that. Help us get your word in us to clean us up, to see ourselves, and then out of that appreciation, out of that great love that you have for us, we love. You said, to whom much is given, much will be required. And so this great knowledge that we have of who you are, Father, requires us, compels us to move forward to you. Help us to go to our there, Lord, and be fulfilled and increase your kingdom in Jesus' name. Amen. Guys, we are going into a new series next week, really excited about kingdom. It's all going to be about kingdom and our position there, what is a kingdom, and where do we go from here. I'm really looking forward to it. God bless you all. Thank you, and you also. Thank you very much, ma'am.